Hello, everyone, and welcome. I am so excited to talk about this topic for today: how our thoughts make the reality that we see. Now, in the spiritual community, we hear a lot that our thoughts create the reality that you see, but you see that I use the word make. Now, the reason that I use the word make is because for me, making means if I made something, that means I can unmake it. But if I create something, that means I brought it into existence. And I can't just pull it out of existence because once something exists, it exists. So that's why I like to say our thoughts make our reality. Because if you make something, you can unmake it. Simple as that. So let's dive into our topic: the structure of how our thoughts make the reality that we see. Okay. So first we have to really start all the way down at the bottom. We have to start at the sub basement, the foundation. And the foundation for how our thoughts make the reality that we see is our desire. Now, when it comes to desire, I'm going to invite you to look past the form and go to the abstract idea. Now, that may sound a little weird, like, what are you talking about? Go past the form to the abstract idea. And I like to use the example of a car. So let's say that you really desire a car. Okay. Well, it's actually not the car that you desire. What you desire is the freedom that the car gives you. That is your desire, the desire to be free, to move freely. So that's really what we have to look at, because if we just say, I want this car or I desire this car, well, then, of course, your belief is going to be like, yeah, I want the car. Then thought, of course, is going to be, yeah, I want the car. Then your emotion is going to be, yeah, I want the car. And then your perception is still going to be, yeah, I want that car. So we have to look a little bit deeper and say, okay, what is it that I'm really desiring here? So let's say you want a certain brand of car. Let's just say, for example, you want a Lamborghini. Okay. So what is it that you really want from the Lamborghini? Well, first we know we want the freedom. That's the first thing. It's freedom, the freedom to move around. Maybe then you want the power that comes with it, like feeling those horses underneath the hood. I have no idea how that works, but maybe that's something that you desire, is that power that comes from driving that type of car. And maybe you also, because it's a brand name, you want the recognition that comes from owning a car like that. And once again, it's just about honesty. It's not about judging yourself. It's not being like, oh, I shouldn't have wanted that. This is your desire. And we go to the abstractness of that desire so that we can really see what it is that we're looking for. Then from there, after we've gone from that abstraction, now we can go up into the basement. Now, the basement is where we have our beliefs. Okay, now when it comes to our beliefs, it's really key. Some of our beliefs are right there. They are plastered on the board. They look great. They're very organized. And then we have that secret compartment, way back in the back. It's covered in cobwebs, and we don't ever look at that place because, in our minds, we're like, I don't want to disturb the spiders. They're building themselves a nice little nest back there, and we're just going to let them have it, right? Well, we really do have to look at that hidden crawl space, because there is our limiting beliefs, or there are the beliefs that are actually stopping us and influencing our thoughts. So let's say that you have a hidden belief about people that own Lamborghinis. Let's say that you think that they are arrogant, okay? But you don't identify yourself as arrogant. But you're like, oh, people that own Lamborghinis, like, they're arrogant. They're just bad people. Maybe that's a belief that you have. And we say okay to that, but then we have to realize, okay, so maybe part of me is like, yeah, I want the Lamborghini. The Lamborghini's going to be great. And maybe I feel some joy, some excitement with that. But there's that underlying belief that says, no, I am not an arrogant person. I am not a bad person. So I am not going to get that car. Even though part of me is saying I really want it, there's this other part of me, this other belief, this hidden belief, this limiting belief that's saying, you know what? No, Not happening because I'm not that type of person. Well, then that leads to your thoughts. So let's say you see a Lamborghini going down the road and you're thinking, wow, that Lamborghini looks real nice. The engine sounds great. And you then, kind of leads you to those like emotions of like some excitement, some like joy. And you're like, yeah. And then, there's that other thought though that's like, oh, well, I bet the person that owns that is a real asshole, like a real arrogant asshole. And then what do you know? There's like an elderly person crossing the road with their walker, and you see that Lamborghini just zoom around them, and you're like, oh, I knew it. I knew it. Those people are just bad. Well, why did you see that? Well, you have the belief, which led to your thoughts, which then led to your emotions, which then led to your perception, led to how you view the world. That's it. Because your eyes do not report that your eyes don't see. What your eyes do is they report back what you believe. You believe people that drive Lamborghinis are arrogant asshole people. So guess what? That's exactly what you saw. There is how the whole entire structure works. But let's kind of go back to that then. So if our eyes report back what we believe, we really got to get clear on what it is that we believe. So how do we begin to find those hidden beliefs or those limiting beliefs? Well, one great way is, of course, monitoring our emotions and really being willing to be honest and say, okay, when I see this, this is the energy that is currently moving through me. Because remember, that's all emotions are. It's energy in motion. That's what emotions are. Energy in motion. And so we just pay attention to, okay, this is the energy in motion. So maybe it's some disdain or disgust. Okay, let me look. So now I've gone from the emotions. Now I'm going down to the thoughts. Okay, what are the thoughts that are maybe here? Okay, let me kind of look at the structure of these thoughts and get to the core. Okay, the core is I think people that own Lamborghinis are assholes. Oh my gosh, I never even knew this. I didn't even think about that. And there, now we found the belief. Now what do we do? Now what? Okay, great. I found the belief. Our next step is really simple. We have an opportunity. We can either, write out that belief and, rip it up, burn it, be like, I banish this. This is no longer, I don't want this. And then substitute it with an affirmation. I'm all about affirmations. I think they're beautiful. I think they're wonderful. If you believe them. Because if you still believe that people that own Lamborghinis are assholes, well, and you're like, oh, but people that own Lamborghinis are great. That own Lamborghinis are wonderful, or whatever you want to make your affirmation, and you don't really believe it. Well, guess what? You've made yourself a mud pie and you've covered it with pink fondant and sprinkles and you made it look real fancy, real great. But honey, you cut into that pie and guess what? It's still a mud pie. It's still going to taste like mud, maybe mixed with some sugar, but it's still going to taste like mud. So we really have to make sure that we believe the affirmation that we're saying. Now, one thing that I like to do that I find very helpful is forgiveness. Now, you may be like, forgiveness? Like, that doesn't make any sense. For me, what I'm doing is forgiving myself for believing that there are asshole people. Like, and this is just how I put it. You don't have to do it this way. This is what I have learned from my journey. And so you can take it if you wish. But what I like to do is I like to say, God did not, and you can, of course, replace it with whatever you believe your higher power is. I'm just going to use the word God because that's what feels good to me. So God did not create asshole people. God created everyone as a blessing. So I'm willing to see the truth beyond my dream, because remember, we're all living in an illusion. So beyond my dream of assholes, the truth is God created everyone to bless me. And therefore, I now ask that the part of my mind that still believes that people can be assholes or arrogant or whatever the case is, now be healed. I place this belief on the altar of love to be altered. Maybe take a breath or two on that. My goal is peace. Spirit, I thank you in advance that you will judge everything for me and I will let you. I thank you in advance that you will undo all the consequences of my wrong decisions when it comes to people being assholes or people being arrogant or whatever the case may be, and I will let you. I thank you in advance that you will teach me to see beyond the behavior to the truth that lies beyond. And that's just something that I like to do. When something disturbs my peace, when I find a, negative emotion coming up, I like to immediately, okay, this is not what I want to, this is not what I want to see. I want to unmake it, and I want to, spirit to make it for me so it can be beautiful, so it can be wonderful, so I can see the truth. And so that's how we can begin that process of really looking at the belief. So we acknowledge it, we process it, and we release it. And of course, that's just, one way. There are a multitude of different ways to begin to release it. But now at least you have the structure of how your thoughts make the reality that you see. And now you know that you have to go to the basement in order to begin to see something different. A beautiful line from A Course in Miracles is, you do not change the world, you change the way that you think about it. And of course, I paraphrase that. That's not the exact terminology, but that is the basic idea. You don't change the form, you change the way you think about it, and then it will change. Why? Because your eyes report back what you believe. And if you change the way that you believe about something, then you will see it differently. So that is just the structure of, and I just made that little pyramid because it just pyramid shape sounded good. That is the structure of how your thoughts make the reality that you see. Have a wonderful rest of your day. And if you are interested, I do have a course called Finding Your True Desire, which helps you to kind of get to that abstraction, helps you really see the abstract thought that is behind what it is that you say, that the form that you are desiring. If you're interested in that, I will post it in the link below. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for being here. And remember, what you believe is what you see.